All right, everyone, let's do another episode of Genesis Podcast where we talk about blockchain technology and we decipher complicated technology for you and to understand the complicated technology very easily. And today we have Daniel from Ubet. It's a betting startup and going on for, I think, a few years. And we'll just go into details. But let's start with about yourself, Daniel. Can you tell us about a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks for the invite. My name is Daniel Im. I'm the founder of Ubet Sports. It's right now decentralized Web3 betting platform.
That,
My background, I started as actually from AI machine learning
mm,
researcher since 2012, and I've been in academia for a very long time, publishing machine learning papers, and later I got into trading world as well. So this is my actually third time starting a startup.
nice.
My first company was called AI Founded. It was the first company I launched in 2016. It was a search engine
Hmm.
company, but not for humans, but for AI models. So back then, my thought was that, as humans, we're smart, but however, we always need to Google things and look for data, look for retrieve information.
Hmm.
And I thought the same thing about machine learning models back then, where we have to train machine learning models from data set,
Yeah.
which the information is bounded by how much is in the data set. So you can't do really better than the data set. So I thought, oh, then machine learning models has to also retrieve information just like humans. So first thing I thought was let's try building a search engine. We're gonna scrape all the web like World Wide Web, and we're gonna start making an interface where machine learning model can play with, just like OpenAI Gym or
Hmm.
Playground. So me and my co-founder called Noah Chitalis, and we decided to make this, and then we actually ended up selling our company to our IP to Clearview AI, and then I moved on to starting a new startup, and my friend introduced me to crypto world in 2017, 18,
Yeah, same
and
around
that
the
was
same
my
time.
first
Hmm.
time. Yeah, that was my first time getting into the trading world as well as crypto world, and my friend asked me to join his company called CoinChess, and I was CTO at this time. And basically, the company was a data mining, like market data aggregation data
Hmm.
mining company, and we were mining like millisecond level data
Mm,
on 19 different exchanges on 200 different assets,
yeah.
and it's for like back testing for institutions to trade and so on. And we could quickly realize that selling data isn't enough, so we start doing consulting and analysis for projects and hedge
Hmm.
funds. For example, one of things is that like you can think about back then, like everything is in centralized exchange,
Hmm.
and then a lot of exchanges were trading by themselves. So to increase the beef up the volumes.
Hmm.
So if you're a project owner and you have a token, you'll be like, what is my real trading volume of my
Hmm. Yeah.
coin? So stuff like that is very unclear, and we were helping doing analysis, figuring out ways to approximate or heuristically measure these type of things. We also helped 3IQ comply OSC on first BTC ETF launching in Canada, and at that time we were helping study like exchange volumes, exchange tradings, and
Hmm.
like, price modeling, and so on and so on. And then more I got into like trading and analysis, I'm like, why am I doing all these things for hedge funds
Hmm.
when all the hard work there? Like, why can't I just do trading myself and run a prop shop or something like that? So um, I thought about doing like opening a prop shop,
Hmm.
but then actually I wanted to start an exchange. And by that time, like the DeFi summer came, decks started showing up, and I thought there's a lot of decks, and I was looking for opportunities. And sports book running a sports betting platform
Hmm.
actually caught in my eye, because
Was that
one of thing is that
was there an
okay,
interest like you had? Like, And especially like sports betting,
Um,
like was there interest that like made you want to explore that?
yeah, so sort of like actually, I never thought in my life that I would run a sports book.
Yeah.
um, at that time, it was very weird coincidence. So in parallel, I had an argument with about the basketball players with my friend, and I wanted to prove that. So I started building like sports basketball like stats dashboards, visualizations, like how the progress changes, and I
uh,
brought it to him, and then he goes like, "Okay, this is all good, but people want predictions.
uh,
People want what's gonna happen in the future." So I start then modeling like what's gonna happen, like modeling sports prediction outcomes from top-down modeling to bottom-up
mhm.
approaches. And then I even started taking a course from NYU on sports betting, sports prediction modeling, and this got me really thinking about got into the sports betting world. Yeah.
Yeah. I see like so can I just say that your background is technical like in software. It's easy, it's easy to assume that. Yeah, I can see like your interests have been like in even different projects that you have a lot of interest in like kind of data and analyzing the data, looking into data, and then providing some uh taking some like value out of it. That's what I that's kind of what I see. Is that the kind of why like, you think you went to like sports betting from kind of like your personal like kind of passion? I would say, is that something you thought about, or like it's obvious to you or something?
Um, it came naturally. It's I didn't like plan it or anything. There was no plan to. It just led me to
Hmm.
that. I just chased for at the moment of what I am interested in. I tend to like
Yeah.
analysis and data analysis, like bread and butter for me, and just follow up the stories like it was and then it came to here, and I saw that it's a good opportunity because compared to fintech world, especially traditional fintech
Hmm.
world, sports betting world, tech seems ancient, like very old school technology. And on top of that, if we combine the fintech
Hmm.
concepts and technology plus the DeFi models, I thought it can really uh, step up the sports betting
Hmm.
world. And even from the business modeling model side of view, if you look at DEX or derivative DEX,
Hmm.
their transaction fee is 0.1% to 0.01%, where sports betting vig or transaction fees like 3 to 4
Hmm.
percent, or even like on onshore sports books are like go to like 5, 6, 7%. So it's
Like
much
orders of
better way of.
magnitude higher, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought that it's a good opportunity to try out.
Yeah. So before I would describe the blockchain version of sports betting, can you describe, like you said, like there's a traditional way. Can you describe like the landscape of like for different aspects, different games? I know a few, but I would like to hear from you. Like, kind of give examples of like the current ways of like, or not current, but like the traditional ways of like the sports betting. How it's done right now.
Yes. So for traditional sports betting, first is they use something called fixed
Mm-hmm.
odds, meaning the odds that they offer you is fixed, no matter what bet size you come up with.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is no concept of slippage in trading world. So this means that people can bet whatever size they want with that fixed
Let's
odds.
say
This
ten
sounds all.
bucks.
Yeah, $10. Then whether I bet using $10 or $100, I'm gonna use that get that odds.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in traditional sport trading world, whether I buy ten like a $1,000 worth of Apple stock versus $1 million of Apple stocks, my average price that I'm gonna purchase is gonna be a lot different because there's not that many people willing to sell it at
Mm-hmm.
a at a very good
Yeah.
price. So this is not the same for sports betting world, and but there's a caveat to this. This sounds good, but actually, in traditional sports betting world, like if you're a good sharp
Hmm.
better, or depending on who you are, what kind of better you are, actually, if you put a large limit, large
Hmm.
order, they might just ban you from completely from the platform.
Like actually kick you out basically of the. Uh,
Yeah, they'll
so
kick you
they
out,
keep a
and
higher
this
limit
is
or something like that, probably, right?
yeah, and like depending on it's depending on the
Mm,
sports book,
yeah.
but they put different bet size per person too.
Mm,
It's not for everybody, so there is even if you go like uh like like some of the existing traditional sports books, they even still have a monitoring system to see who's
hmm.
betting. And oh, this guy betted. Why would he bet right now? Let me check what happened. Is there a new information? Did LeBron James hurt his ankle or something? Am I missing
Mm,
something? Let me double check. So they would do that.
yeah. Oh wow, that very research and thorough, I guess. Um, let's talk about like the. So when did you start your? When did you start Ubet, and then how did it develop in the beginning? Like what happened in the beginning, like when you first started?
Yeah. So I started it like I came up this idea like it built over time. I didn't have this idea right away
Mm-hmm.
to go. I started brainstorming and doing some research since 2000 mid
Mm-hmm.
2021, and then I started getting validating the idea, talking to potential investors to just get some advice. And they when they heard this idea, they'd be like, oh, like this is perfectly like coincide with the
Yeah.
DeFi, and that I started studying more into DeFi as well and AMMs, and we actually came up with our own price oracle based AMM,
Mm-hmm.
which you can find in our website. And this AMM will um, calculate the slippage and the price
Mm-hmm.
of the odds for our users. And this way, it's not a fixed odds, but you can. There's no bet limit, but you're depending on your bet size, your odds scales, and yeah,
Yeah.
depends on your bet size.
Let's decipher that. Actually, that's what we're our podcast is about. Like, explain each term. I heard a few things. I know some of them, but let's decipher them. You talked about um, you talked about slippage, and before that, you talked about um, AMMs like moneymaker. So basically, let's talk about like from a user's perspective, like or for or developer's
Right.
perspective, how does that actually work? Like, and open it up a little bit.
Yeah. So first, um, let me talk about step back and talk about what is the spread and what is the
Hmm.
slippage first, which occurs in traditional
Trading,
trading
yes.
world, crypto, and everywhere. So, for some market, there should be a fair price that nobody knows, but we can try to estimate that.
Hmm.
But nobody's willing to um, buy, bid, or ask at the fair price. Some people say, "Hey, I want to buy Apple
Hmm.
stock for 99 cents, 98 cents," and then someone else will. I'm only willing to sell it for $1, 2 cents, dollar 3 cents, and
Yeah.
so on. So it's an auctions double auction system, and then in between there is a some spread that just doesn't close well because of our
Hmm.
greediness, and that is called spread.
Yeah.
And then and there is some spread, but I say, you know what, I'm a buyer, and I'm willing to buy. I'm so bullish. I'm willing to buy this at whatever
Yeah.
it costs.
I'm
I want to
I'm ready to
buy
buy
up to
basically
like,
at any price.
yeah, and at any price. Then I'm gonna start buying for, hey, you're selling at 10 3 cents one stock. I'm gonna get that. Hey, you're selling at $1.04. I'm gonna get that
Hmm.
from you. And I keep buying it from everybody. And then I measure my average cost, how much average price that I purchased that, and that's different from like the best price that I can get, and that is called slippage.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I,
And often when you do trading or betting, this kind of thing details
yeah.
matters in terms of your ROI and so
And
on.
it's if talking like from the DeFi perspective, like the amount of players or the amount of sellers and buyers matters for this, because if there's like not many people, the slippage becomes higher, right? Because it kind of slips away almost in a way to think about it. Like let's say like if there's like only two three people selling, that means like they might raise the price. I mean, I want to buy it anyways, so I will buy from only all of them, so the slippage would be higher. But if there's like millions of sellers, then everyone will sell almost around the same price, almost like you go on eBay, like the prices are like, if there are a lot of sellers on the same product, there's the price difference between different sellers are not much. But if there's like a
Yeah,
few, then the price difference might be a lot wider, which will cause a higher slippage basically.
right, right.
Yeah.
And this is like a typical order book based models or double auction system. And
So what
in DeFi
so what you
world,
decided was like, hey, this it makes total sense in DeFi world. Why don't we put this on to like, sports betting? Is that what you thought?
yeah, that was the idea, and it kind of made it a bit more simpler by in like think about like Uniswap V2 versions, V1
Mm-hmm.
versions, where they have instead of peer to peer people buying and selling in the auction system, they create a
Mm-hmm.
pool and then they people put money into that pool, and that pool provides
Mm-hmm.
liquidity. So I just need to worry about if I'm a buyer, I just need to say that hey, I want to buy this
Mm-hmm.
much, and I know that there's always gonna be liquidity in that as long as there's money in that
Mm-hmm.
pool. Like there's a liquidity for me to purchase it, and how much that slippage is now it just follows some nice simple curve called like different curve depends on what AMM you
Yeah.
use. And that's pretty much what AMM is, where it's called automated market
Mm-hmm.
maker, where you follow a certain function that allow you to that tells you how much slippage is going to be depending on based on two
Mm-hmm.
variables. One is liquidity pool, how much is in the
Yeah.
liquidity pool, and two is what is your bet
Mm-hmm.
size. Yeah. So, yep.
Yeah, because you might exhaust. The liquidity pool is not much, and then you have a huge buy. That means you exhaust all the sellers or all the buyers, basically. You exhaust through them.
Yeah.
So those two variables are very important. So yeah, I think it's kind of simplifies the whole like sports betting. Let's talk about the sports part of the betting of your platform. Like, what kind of sports are we talking about? Like, and is it like any kind of sport? Like, it's like dynamically. Like, are you this dynamically? Anyone can create any kind of sport, or is it like very specific subset of sports? And what is the focus there?
Yeah, so currently we start with the specific sports. I mean, we are still considered those early
Mm-hmm.
startups. So we have most popular sports like all the U.S. sports like basketball, football, American
Mm-hmm.
football, and tennis. We also have like soccer or football,
Yeah.
cricket,
Okay.
UFC, boxing, and we actually are also focusing on esports as well, like Counter Strike,
Mm-hmm.
League of Legends, Dota 2, Valorant, and Mobile Legends, and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, very nice. Kind of like international, not just like a specific local area. Yeah, it does. I guess my
Exactly.
we can maybe derail into this direction. Like, what do you think about like when there's like Euro Cup happening or like Olympics happening? Do you see a spike in your usage? Are people more interested?
Oh, definitely, yeah, definitely. Like there's a spikes whenever there's big
Hmm.
events. Luckily, often the big events happens all the time,
Yeah,
depending on what sport it
yeah, yeah,
is
yeah,
or what esports it is. So that's a nice part. For example, Euro 2024 was a big, and
yeah,
then we had a lot of people just like betting on them, and it was fun because there were a lot of upsets too. Like for example, Italy versus
yeah.
Switzerland and so on.
I'm actually gonna check. Did the final happen, or we have the finals, or Spain versus
Yeah,
what happened to you?
Spain versus England happened, and
Yeah.
Spain won
Oh,
two
oh,
one.
okay. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, I think I
yeah,
watched a little bit of the summary. Yeah, Spain,
yeah.
Spain never
It's good.
lost. I don't think, right? This the whole time they've been winning.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and they had really good team, and I think a lot of people did expect that Spain's gonna win.
Yeah,
So was
Good
very
for
good.
them. Yeah, I was watching all the summaries. And yeah, so like that probably spikes up your traffic. Let's talk about it because you're like a tech person. We talked a lot about the business side. Let's talk about the technology part. Like, how does blockchain, like, how does the blockchain makes it a difference? So it's kind of decentralized now. You can just let it run. You don't have to control anything. So what are some of the benefits you notice or see compared to like the traditional way of like betting versus like using blockchain?
Yeah, so I can tell you that like just at high level, we try to make transparent, trustless, and decentralized system as much as
Mm-hmm.
possible. And we think that like we are one of the most on-chain Web3 sports books out there.
Yeah.
And our when I think about like blockchain, you know,
Mm-hmm.
decentralization and building an app in blockchain, there can be a different tier of
True.
decentralization. Like I think most often that ones that you see are non-custodial
Mm-hmm.
solutions. So they have a lot of off-chain things going on, but you can connect using MetaMask wallet and transact. So in there, your main purpose is to record that transaction into
Mm-hmm.
blockchain. So we have non-custodial, but even more than that, we go one step further where we use
Mm-hmm.
AMMs to price-based Oracle AMMs to price the odds and offer the odds because most
Mm-hmm.
traditional sports books or even most of the Web3 sports books that I know, they calculate the odds off-chain.
Mm-hmm.
And there might be different manipulations going on. You don't know how the odds are changing. That happens, behind the scene where here like because AMM is in a smart
Mm-hmm.
contract and you can see all the code, you can read all the codes to see what these guys are doing. So that's another step that we
Mm-hmm.
took. And third thing is you're not only being the better, you can also be the house,
Mm-hmm.
meaning house being the liquidity
Oh,
provider.
okay.
So you can provide the liquidity provision. So in traditional sports books, you can only bet as a better.
Yeah.
And here, you being a house means that you put your money into a liquidity pool, and then someone bets, and then you take the opposite side of that bet.
Mm-hmm.
And you're providing liquidity by taking the opposite side, and you take the transaction fee.
Automatic. They're basically picking the opposite side. Like you
Yeah.
said, the house. And these are for sports games. So like there's liquidity pool going, the money goes to the pool, and then people do the betting. But there's kind of like I'm kind of like simplifying the architecture. Like, so the results come in from the sports, and they kind of goes in, and that's something called Oracle. I assume, can you talk a little bit about that? Like, the actual results, the game results coming into the blockchain and then feeding into it. Can you talk a little bit about the technology that you guys used?
Yes, yes. So yeah, so Oracle is another interesting side aspect. So it's funny how it starts as a sports betting, and then but we touch up on every important
Yeah.
things, and including Oracle. So Oracle is important too because in blockchain you gotta somehow get the world data, put it
Yeah.
in, and for us we basically use a some data provider that we use, and they give us 34 different sports books data and settlements, fixtures, and
Hmm.
all, and we can see, oh hey, say Pinnacle or Book Betfair or FanDuel, DraftKings, let me see your
Hmm.
results, what the settlement
Yeah.
is, and then we can do voting or we can validate whether the results are the
Hmm.
same, and then we can push the results into the blockchain,
Hmm.
like for to smart contract to tell them that, hey, here's the results. Now you can exercise your contract,
Yeah.
and once the contract gets exercised, then people get their payments.
Yeah. So basically, you're cross validating these results, not just relying on one source of truth, right?
Yeah, but for now, I would say if we had like sports Oracle on chain, then that would be like we're on fully like
Hmm.
full on chain platform. But so far, we do that validation outside of
Hmm.
chain, and then we submit because it's kind of like um yeah, it's too much work to it. Having a running, making a sports betting platform plus if we make a Oracle, then it's like
Yeah.
it's a lot of work, and we wouldn't do that just for our platform, but we're open to it. We talked about it internally and
Hmm.
externally. Uh, if there's a demand where blockchains wants sports
Yeah.
oracles, we already with the half of the part voting and everything. We just need to put that on inside the validator in
Yeah.
blockchain. So we can do other part if there is a business for
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
needs for
So your
that.
focus is on the like order book of the betting.
Yes,
You like the Oracle thing. There are existing oracles. You rely on that, and you just cross validate. So like that's kind of like you make sure everything is good. Yeah, that makes sense. Did you so like for the blockchain? Like, do you like see like are you using multiple blockchains for a purpose, or like using one? What was the decision making there in terms of like what platform to
um,
use?
yes. So we definitely want to go to other chains. Unfortunately, we're only on Polygon at the
That's
moment.
what I heard. Yeah.
um, since we started last cycle, and and Polygon, because our decision was at the time Polygon has a lot of users close to
Hmm.
Ethereum and gas fee is manageable, so we decided to go there. And at the time, everybody went to Polygon as well. So and we talked a lot about which multi-chain we want to spread go to
Hmm.
and like scale it. And um, we plan to go in end of this year, like start going into other EVM based
Hmm.
chains because we worked on EVM based Solidity, so we have to go to EVM.
Because you have the contracts, smart contracts already, probably audited
Right.
and everything. So you just yeah, it's easier just to deploy it again.
It, exactly. It's easier to deploy. And right now, just to talk about a little bit of our roadmap, is that I think things come in a order, has to come in an
Hmm.
order because right now we just are finishing up listing other tokens in our platform. So far you can bet using
Hmm.
USDC, but we can start listing other projects token and they can use that as a currency to bet.
Yeah,
So even
we did.
even like wrap is for your project's token or whoever project's
Hmm.
token. We give a utility actually because many projects token they don't have utility. So we're giving utility means we also give offering values.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like providing liquidity to that token, being part of that. We didn't talk about that. I assumed that it was just a stable coin or just maybe
Mm.
Ethereum. Like, is that a roadmap or is it actually like in function right now? Like, are you supporting multiple tokens?
This actually is coming out end of this
Oh,
month.
congratulations! Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So
great.
yeah, so we got audited done, and then we are right now trying to work on the deployment side of things so we can deploy this. Um, so we are actually very excited, and this was a prerequisite before our token launch as well because we want to list our
Hmm.
token, and people should be able to bet using our token and provide a liquidity as well. And same for any other projects applies to. So these are prerequisites and then I think that after all that, then we can go to the other blockchains as
Hmm.
well. Then because then I think it's a perfect scaling. But I was a bit worried. Our team was a bit worried that if we just go directly to multi-chain,
Hmm.
there's a operation maintenance cost, operation cost, and we have to deal with all that at the same time build other
Hmm.
things. So we thought this is a right orders to do it.
Yeah, and I think very close to launching that. So like that's really like congrats on that. It's really cool. Yeah, and like the what else is in your roadmap? Like, do you have like a short term or a long term roadmap plans? I mean, do you have any plans?
Yes, so yeah, so something is like definitely there's a two things that are we always have to think
Hmm.
about betting
Yeah,
features and also the like more like Web3 needs
yeah.
features. So we are juggling trying to juggle between the two. One of thing is like a lot of our users always wanted to parlay. So after this Ethereum, no, ERC20 token listing
Mm-hmm.
support. We are probably gonna work on parlay bets, and when August American football starts and NBA comes back, NFL comes back, then hopefully we have some parlay ready for our users. After that, we'll do some token launch as
Mm-hmm.
well, and then we have to decide like, okay, our users also wants live betting, but we also want to do a staking. So we are, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So far up to end of this year, those three plus going to multi chain is our main part.
Yeah, very very nice. Yeah, and you obviously think about the utility of your token, which is going to be used in the betting, um, and then but still like probably stay with Polygon for now. And then what about your team? Like how is your team like structured? Like are they like can you talk a little bit about your team? How is that going?
Yeah. Um, so we have three developers, dev team, three people, one backend, front end, and then CTO who does everything, including smart
Yeah.
contract. and then um, and then there's me, trying to be the middleman, trying to help out
Yeah.
everybody, and then we have a, marketing team from um, doing social media work, like user growth work, and
Hmm.
like investor relation work, and so on.
How is the users growth so far? Like, and how did it like develop over time? Like, yeah, is it like satisfying your what you're hoping to get?
Yeah, so far, yes, and we've been experimenting a lot. So in terms of, so at the first 3 months, we focused on getting
Hmm.
users, and then I was actually nervous when we like on the day of our launch, which happened in last year September. And will there be anybody? And
Yeah.
actually, people came, and then I was like, wow, actually, they somehow
It's always a
came.
fear.
And then since yeah, there was a fear, and I mean that day I couldn't do work. I was just staring at the dashboard.
Refresh every second.
Refresh exactly. Yeah, and then we somehow got users, and then we focused on getting users,
Uh-huh.
and then we start getting up, going up, and then volumes start going up as
Yeah.
well. And then we also experimented next maybe 3 4 months. Okay, let's try getting a whale users, and
Mm.
then trying to increase the volume. So our use of like increase of the user growth when like not plateau but it slowed
Hmm.
down, but then our volume still like
Mm.
because we brought like yeah big size
Big
big yeah
betters.
like whales
Yeah.
big pie whale
Whale
yeah
in
more than
this like in DeFi or like finance term, whale means someone who can like bring in a huge amount, huge sums of money that will almost change the course of the whole uh, instrument, basically. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And now we learned that, and we actually trying to find the middle ground where we trying to get
Hmm.
users as well as some activities going on with so we're like always like experimenting and figuring out
Yeah.
what's the best
In
ratio.
that case, like
Yeah.
as a follow up, like what is it like you see, like let's say next step was for you like on the business sense would bring in like the ERC20 tokens, different kind of tokens. What kind of users do you expect to see from that?
Yeah, that's also a good question. So um, actually, we also started trying to get Web 2.5
Hmm.
users
Yeah.
when we launched. And actually, at that time, it was like a pure bear market.
Hmm.
So we were trying to get 2.5 users. And then this year, as the markets became better, we try to get Web3 users
Hmm.
as
Yeah.
well. And then now, like, I actually do find that in order, if I want to scale and try to get more
Hmm.
users and like I do find that like I want to get more Web 2.5
Hmm.
users, even for the sake of trying to spread out the actual use of the apps and
Yeah.
blockchains, because I do feel that if we only keep targeting Web3 circles, then we're like within our circles, and it's like it will be more healthier overall. Like in my opinion,
Hmm.
like how many apps that you can recall that are not meme trading based but actually offers
Hmm.
utility and good use case. Um, for this full cycle, I do find it quite limited compared to like how I imagined,
Hmm.
and I think that it will be good if we can like get more Web 2.5, Web 2 users to this world.
Yeah.
Um,
So basically, regular the people that do like use traditional betting, you kind of want to bring them over. Yeah.
yeah. So for traditional people, I think that users um, fiat to crypto conversion is really hard,
Mm.
and there's another step to do a MetaMask. Get
Yeah.
them to use the MetaMask is hard. So for Web 2.5 users who uses centralized exchange, but they're not deep into like blockchain web, like MetaMask stuff.
Yeah.
So we were targeting more like Web 2.5. So they can do fiat to crypto conversions, but from there, it's I find that it's easier to educate them to
Mm.
use our app.
Yes.
So we
Stay in
first
the
target
app. Yeah.
those right now.
Yeah. Makes sense. On the yeah, we touched the tech direction and then other direction. What about the competition? I mean, obviously you shouldn't worry about the competition, but because you guys are doing well, any what worries you, or what do you see in your radar these days?
Um, I do think that like that's another thing. I mean, there's many like Web3 sportsbook or casinos
Oh,
that I
yeah,
see more and more during now. Um,
yeah.
and
When
I
you drive
think
through like the strip on Las Vegas, you see all of them like advertising. Like, yeah,
right. I do think that if we only target Web3 users, then this will be a big competition
yeah.
as well. And especially in the framework of our current situation, I do think that like everybody will try to go to the one that do the most airdrop, and then once the
Mm,
airdrop is done, they
yeah.
will go for another app to do do hunting
Incentivization.
and
Yeah,
so
yeah,
on.
yeah. I see. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think in that landscape, it's not only sportsbook, even blockchains or many infra projects or many apps. I do see
Yeah.
phenomena of incentive, yeah, airdrop driven farmings or farmer
Yeah.
driven thing. That's why I like targeting Web 2.5 users too. As soon as I open up more door to Web 2 users,
Hmm.
like this competition is not really a competition really anymore. So yeah.
I see. You basically
So,
solving in yourself, like by the target audience. You just kind of deciding based on that. I will solve it. Makes sense. Yeah. So yeah. Overall, like, where do you see this project going? Like, as like a last question, maybe like down the road, like maybe like 2 years to 5 years time frame.
yes. So yeah. So I started the vision that like again we're gonna bring a lot of financial instrument into sports
Yeah.
betting world. And I do find that right now we mostly focus on catching up to making our platform good as or getting close to like traditional sports betting world platform because traditional sportsbook they had a way longer time to work on it,
Hmm.
right? And for us, we're not even 1 years old yet, so we've been catching up there, and we still have some to do, but we're catching up. But I think that we can go even beyond that by bringing other financial instruments
Hmm.
like options in sports betting or insurance
Mm.
and um, features and many other things that we can start bringing and make it more dynamic.
Yeah.
As well as I would love to extended to like fantasy sports and so on. So these are, I think there's a lot horizon that we can focus or really deep dive into sports trading, and
Hmm.
not only can think of it as sports betting, but sports trading.
Yeah. So like going that to like kind of bring in all the uh, kind of expand it to like full trading of sports betting, plus bringing some of the instruments from financial world basically, because like stock market has all the instruments, all the options and everything. I kind of bring those
Exactly.
things. Yeah, yeah. Thanks, Neil. Like as last words, like I'll give you some last thoughts and like kind of like give like a talk about your company and how people can find you, how people can start using, and also like any kind of like places they have to be from, like any kind of restrictions you can talk about. Yeah, I would love to. I'll give you the microphone to like kind of talk about your project and kind of advertise it a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. So I already said a lot about our sports book, and you will probably get the feeling, the vibe that we're very technical, but also trying to be transparent,
Hmm.
trustless, and we're working really hard. Going steadily towards good sports book, making a good sports book. And if you're interested in a project, something that's really good like this, and that are very, sincerely trying to make something work,
Hmm.
then please check us out at ubetsports.io. You can also follow us. Just go to Twitter or Telegram, look for Ubet Sports, and then it will show up.
Yeah, nice. Thanks, Daniel. Well, thanks everyone for joining our episode this week. We had a betting platform on blockchain, Ubet Sports, and yeah, thanks for tuning in. And this is our Genesis podcast from Move Network. We decipher blockchain technology, blockchain applications, and anything in between. We'll see you next time. Bye.